What's up guys, welcome back to yet another video on my YouTube channel, and in today's video I want to take you through an in-depth understanding of what dodging and bending is, what I understand what dodging and bending is, and also make you understand what I understand what dodging and bending is. I hope I made sense there. Before I get into today's video, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, don't forget to turn on the bell notification icon, and also don't forget to share this video to others who you know might be interested in understanding what exactly dodging and bending is all about. When we mention dodging and bending, all we have in mind is dodging the highlights and bending the shadows. Well, I don't want to say you're wrong, you're right, because with that you're just contouring the image, exactly what the makeup artists do all the time. But with my method of dodging and bending, or with what I have learned dodging and bending to be, dodging and bending is more or less trying to fix the lighting issues on the skin as a result of, I wouldn't say as a result of bad lighting, but as a result of how the human face is structured, such that they receive light in a different way. I bet you how the skin receives light will be different from how a different model with a different skin with a different facial feature will receive light on the skin. So it's more or less fixing the luminosity issues on the skin. So before I get into this picture, let's try and understand something here. Right, so I have here four, should I say, okay, there's a white version. So I have here the black, a lighter shade of black, gray, a lighter shade of gray, and white. These, I'm trying to use these to explain what dodging and bending is all about. So if I should create a new layer by holding Ctrl and Shift N, right, and I move this aside, what dodging and bending is all about, what I understand by dodging and bending is, it's either you are making the darker side of an image become a lighter shade. So let's say if this is a darker side or the shadow side of an image where there's a lot of shadows and you want to reduce the amount of shadows there, what we normally do is we brighten the area, right? And with brightening you can use what? You can use a curve adjustment, you can use the brightness and contrast adjustment here in Photoshop. But what I want you to understand is you are brightening that particular shadowy area, that particular dark area where you want it to move to this darker shade of black to this lighter shade of black. So all you have in mind, or all I have in mind, is to make here lighter. So let me just pick a white brush, even at 90, then let's duplicate the background just so that we have a representative of it on the layer. Then we paint and increase the brush size, make sure my brush is at 0 hardness, then paint over. As you can see, let me just paint over this way, right? Let's have this whole thing, just because we're working on this particular layer. As you can see, this is more or less approaching something like this. So if I should reduce the opacity of what I did just now, you will get to see that I have reduced the darkness of this black bar that was here. That is the idea behind dodging and bending of an image. So if I should send you to the next image, which is this actually, we have a darker shade over here and we have a lighter shade over here. What we are about to achieve here is to make sure the skin looks smooth, the skin looks perfect, and they are all in the same tone. Not basically in the same tone, but the transition between highlights and shadows fall off very, very easily. That is what we are trying to achieve. So if I should increase the opacity of this, and let's say I want the transition from this to this to be quite easy and not as drastic as you're seeing on the line here, I just reduce the opacity, then I have this, right? Then maybe, just maybe, I can clear off with the max, take it off from this side. If we go in depth and take careful time, we can make sure this side of the image, right, this side of this bar looks exactly like the other side. That is what we are trying to achieve here, but it's a tutorial and I don't hope to make it a long one. So let me just try and paint black on the white instead, so that we can see exactly what I am talking about. So I'm trying to paint black. Sorry, the opacity is 0. So let me just delete this, right? And create another layer for that. So paint black. My flows are 90, opacity 100. I just want to show you what this can do. So taking a look at this, you realize that after painting black on this white area, this is getting to look like this in a way, because I have reduced the amount of whiteness or the amount of light on that particular bright area. So dodging this time around is dodging the darker side, and burning this time around is burning the lighter side. Now there is a bonus tip in between where if I should, let's say, over burn this, right, and I want to, let me zoom into this part of the image. I want to make sure this side of the image looks similar to this side. I can dodge this side. Let's make sure it's just, I can dodge this side to have that look I am going in for. So one might ask, why am I dodging where I've already bent? All I'm trying to show you guys is that you would have to make sure the transition is very smooth. So if I have to dodge a particular side that I've already bent to make that transition very smooth, I will do just that. So with this explanation in mind, I hope you understand what dodging and bending on a particular image looks like. So let me just send this idea we just learned, or this trick we just learned, trying to, let's say, darken this side to make it look like this, or brightening this side to make it look like that. Let's send it to the next image, this particular image. So with dodging and bending, like I explained earlier, you are brightening and darkening certain places, and I mentioned a few adjustment layers you could use, which is the brightness and contrast, and the curves adjustment, the exposure adjustment, or camera raw adjustment. But we've already processed this image and we want to just continue from here. Before I show you this, I have already done the tedious work of removing all the blemishes I don't need. I have mentioned before in many of my tutorial videos that 70% of a good retouch falls down to your healing. And if you want to learn how to heal, I have a video on my YouTube channel. I'll link it up here with a suggest card. Go watch how to remove blemishes non-destructively in Photoshop. This image I shot with a Canon 6D and an 85 Sigma at 1.4 at f7. So, and I cropped in to get this side. I hope to show you the full image soon. But what I'm here about is to show you what dodging and bending can do. So let's just go ahead and create the dodging and bending folder. So with curves, I like using curves a lot. So curve, then I know I want a brighter curve and a darker curve. And with that in mind, I'll push this up to, let's say, to this point, right? This is brightening the image, as you can see. Then I'll move the highlights down, right? Not too much, so that you could get some information in the highlights. Then we'll name this dodge. Then we invert the max by holding Ctrl I or Command I on the keyboard. Create another curve adjustment. This time around, make sure you're darkening the image. And by darkening the image, this is what you get to see. Let's take the color out of the darkness. We just want to darken the image, not add colors to it. So with that, I push this down. Then because you're working on skin, we want to add some reds, right, and take away some yellows from the highlights. So this is what you're looking at. Then rename this to burn. Just do the same thing we did to the dodge. Hold Command or Control I on the keyboard to invert the max. Then we have this dodging and burn folder. So let's hold Control or Command G on the keyboard to group this and rename to dodge and burn. Now to create what will help us dodge and bend. Looking at this, if you're an expert, if you've been doing dodging and bending for quite a long time, you can go ahead and dodge and bend this particular image, depending on how good you are. But for me, no matter how good I am, I still use a visual aid. And with the visual aid, I mean something to show me the darkness in the image and the brightness in the image without conflicting my eyes with color shifts. And with that said, I would want to convert this image into black and white. So there are various ways to making your image black and white. You can duplicate this layer and hold Ctrl Shift U, or go to image adjustment and you have desaturate, right? You have this, then you can dodge and bend and go. But I want to show you a quick one where I think is suitable for everything. That's like one of the best black and white adjustment layers to use. So on top of the dodge and bend folder, we create a solid color. Make sure everything is at 0, push it into the blacks, then come to the brightness, HSB, which is hue, saturation, and brightness. Make sure your brightness is at 50. And we have 50% gray. 50% gray is neither black or white, it's just a neutral color. Then change this from normal to color, and there you have your black and white. One might ask, why am I not using a gradient map? So this is why I don't want to use a gradient map. When I click on this, this has more contrast to the image than this, right? And to fix that, it's just a little or just a small push. With gradient maps, when you tap and open the bar and you move the smoothness to 0, you have the appropriate black and white, the smoothness to 0. But when you move the smoothness to 100, just take a look at what's happening on the bar over here. By moving it to 0, there's no fade from black into the white. Like there's no blending in of the blacks into the whites. But when you smoothen it, the blacks try to blend in into the white, and you have that contrasty black and white you're looking out for. So I can choose to make it 0 and use it like this, because it's also a good representative of blacks, because my blacks are in my shadows and my whites are in my highlights. But we want to use the color fill, so let's just leave it at the color fill and rename this to visual aid. Now, since we have our visual aid, we need something to make it more contrasted to see if this is okay for you. You're good to go. You can have this and dodge and bend and go if you have no problems. But I believe adding contrast to this visual aid, which we can toggle on and off, will be able to help us see exactly where the darks are on the image and the lights are on the image. This further adjustment is as a result of working on light skin models. Light skin models are so light that they pick up light very easily, so you get to see that your image becomes overexposed when you're trying to like fix the lighting issue on your model. That's getting the right exposure. So dodging and bending becomes quite a problem. But when you add this curve adjustment, let's just make a slight S curve, right? Slight S curve. Now we have added this. Okay, this is not slight S curve. Now we've added contrast to the image. When I group this by holding, hold Command or Control G on the keyboard to group it, then rename this to helper. So now I have this to toggle off and on. If I should turn off the curves, I have this. Right, now let's go into what dodging and bending is. From the explanations we had earlier using the bars, I will make sure I will use brush, because I'll use a brush too, just because I will be painting on the marks. I hope you understand me. So painting on these marks wouldn't affect the layer, they just build upon the layer. And that's why you can dodge and bend on the same particular side of the image, and you can actually delete this dodge and bend and create a new one, and nothing will be on the layer 1, or let's say the healing layer. Let's just rename this to the healing layer, whatever we name it. So we have our brush tool. I'll make sure my flow is a 1. Looking at how drastic I created the curve, and looking at how fast you want your dodging and bending processes to go, you can change it from 1 to 2 or 3, but I'll make sure to stick to 1. Make sure my opacity is 100. I turn on my pen pressure sensitivity because I'm using a Wacom tablet. If you have watched my 8 ways of improving your researching, I mentioned using a graphics tablet and also mentioned advancing your skill with the dodging and bending. So I'll just quickly dodge and bend some side and let you guys know exactly what I mean by um, darkening and brightening up areas. So as you can see, we have this lovely image. If I turn it off, we have this lovely image. I'll make sure my flow is at 1, my hardness of brush is at 0, turn on my pressure sensitivity, smoothing at 0. These are my settings, so I'm not saying you should have the same thing. Make sure the brush on the max, I'm painting white on black to review, then we go. So I would want to, let's say, darken this side because I'm trying to follow the light on the model skin, not painting where I feel like I need to paint in the light, or darken where I feel like I want to darken. No, you just follow the light on the model skin. So let's start with burn, just a quick representation, then we move from there. So if I should toggle off and on, you see what I am talking about. So I have taken this highlighted part from this part of her chin and darkened it down to make sure it blends in with the surrounding darkness. And if I zoom in, you guys can see that there are some dark patches there too. I can take the dodge, then reduce my brush size, just localize or make sure they are in the same shade of gray or black or white, whatever color you might stem it. So I feel like there's a line here. I'll reduce my brush size, then I paint or I brush in there. So if I should zoom out and do a quick before and after of the whole dodge and bend folder, before and after, before and after. So that's the main trick or the main idea behind dodging and bending. And I have one tip for you guys when you're doing this: make sure you don't overdo it, and if you overdo it, make sure to reduce your opacity. And also with dodging and bending, it's not just a one-day trick where you just learn and you're good to go, so that you learn and you can sleep on it and feel like when you wake up the next time you're good to go. It's actually a non-destructive way of retouching skin, making the skin look very perfect, making the skin look real and natural, like how a lot of you people have been saying my skin looks perfect and natural and doesn't look like it has been retouched. If I should turn on the black and white, the black and white was helping me see the shift between darkness and brightness. So let's toggle between off and on, off and on. I hope you can see what that is doing. So I'll make sure to quickly fix this and I'll get back to you guys. at this, guys. My left hand is on my keyboard, increasing and decreasing the size of the brush. So you don't get to see me right click and reduce or increase the brush size. This makes my workflow quite efficient and faster because I know what size of brush I need to use at one side and what size of brush I need to not to use at the other side. I'm also using pressure sensitivity from my graphics tablet. If you don't know what a graphics tablet is, kindly watch this video that I'm suggesting right now, improving your retouching. So I don't want to do much on this video, just a few. That's the benefit of being a tutor. Not too much. Make sure everything is okay, just for you guys. All right, let's see. Let me try and bend this side, make sure it's okay. There's one last trick I want to show you guys before I leave. So this is the before and that is the after. Before and after. You know, with this helper, there's another version of this helper where if you don't get it, you get really confused real fast. But I would explain it as easily as possible. So you remember me bringing up this gradient map thing? So gradient map adjustment, we have it this way, right? The blacks are into the shadows and the whites are into the highlights. Now let's reverse this and click on this. Now we have this inverted black and white layer. All right, let me just take away the smoothness, make sure it's at 0. Then we have this. To make sure I am seeing what I need to see, this is a very good representation of an inverted check layer. I know you people have been hearing check layer, check layer, check layer. This can show you exactly what you need to do too, and some spots you have been missing whilst using just the black and white layer. I've been using the black and white layer for quite a long time, and sometimes it gets eye tiring where I really don't know what I'm doing. So I toggle between the inverted check layer and the black and white layer. So with the inverted check layer, if I want to see what's in my, so before I get into that, as the name goes, inverted check layer, so inverted black and white, your highlights are now your blacks. Let me double tap here. Your highlights are now your blacks and your shadows are now your whites. So don't confuse yourself here. Please, I hope you're not confused. So if I want to see an in-depth of what's happening in my shadows, looking at how this is looking right now, that means there's little or no information I can see in there. If I want to see what's going on there, I make sure I pick my level adjustment, then I move the shadow side. So this, by moving it to the right, it gives me information in parts that I think I want to see. Like let's say, while this was here, take a look at this region. While this was at 0, but when I move it towards this region, you guys can see how this side is not blended as I thought it was. So keeping that in mind, I can have it this way and group these and rename to inverted helper. Right, so I have this and I have that. Now I want to do some quick adjustments to this. Make sure, so please have in mind with the inverted, your dodge now becomes black and your bend becomes white. So looking at this, I want to add some blacks to the side. I'm gonna send it to flow of 2. Let's see, yeah, add some blacks to the side and make sure I have some whites, which is my bend too. Make sure there's some kind of blend between my whites and the blacks to have that smooth transition. Sometimes you can go into your highlights, which is the blacks, and make sure even in the highlights there are some very spotty highlighted areas and there are some very dialed down highlighted areas. You can blend that with your burn. So if I should turn this off, just take a look at this, right? So let's do a quick one, then we'll be done. All right. After this, I want to go back to the normal dodging and bending. I think you all know dodging the highlights and bending the shadows. So I'll make sure my flow is at 4. Right. Go to the dodge the parts that I know need to be dodged. Get it? Like this side, I think this side already has that enough highlights. The lip, the teeth, this side of the nose bridge, and this side and that side, and the eye, and this side. Now the bend straight to the eyebrow, the eyelashes, the nose dimension, the lip too, not forgetting the lip, this side, and to the liquid we dropped on her skin. Adding dimension to it. Alright, now let me show you a quick before and after of everything that we have done so far concerning dodging and bending. So this is the before and this is the after. The before and the after. So this is the before and the after, the before and the after. So this is what dodging and bending can do for you. If you keep an eye on this image for quite a while, you realize there are some mistakes you can fix. Which brings me to what I mentioned in my improving your dodging and bending or improving your retouching skills. If you take your eyes off the image and bring it back, or take breaks whilst you're dodging and bending, you get to see all these silly mistakes. Now there are some color shifts I can fix later on, but like I mentioned, this video is just dodging and bending. So I think I am done. I remember one time somebody telling me I didn't show them the actions I used or how I created the dodging and bending action and all that. This is what's in my dodging and bending folder, and this is how I created my dodging and bending action. So I hope you got something from today's video. If you didn't get anything, kindly leave a comment down in the comment section below. Give me a thumbs up if you learned something, if you got something from today's video, if you actually realized something you didn't realize before and you learned something new about dodging and bending. Don't forget to share this video to your other friends who might also be interested in improving their crafts concerning retouching. And don't forget to like this video. I think I've already said that. Don't forget to subscribe. Yes, I think I didn't mention subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe to just my YouTube channel to get notified. Hit that bell notification icon all the time whenever I drop a new video. You'll be one of the first people to get notified when I drop such video. I hope to see you in my next YouTube video. Peace.